Hey, I'm Eric Worrell, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the best small business credit cards in 2020. And if we ever get out of this year, hopefully 2021 if we see it. So I know a few things about you by the fact that you might want to watch this video. You're probably involved in a business pretty significantly, whether you're the owner, decision maker, somebody who's heavily influencing the business. So what I want to do is in the first part of this video, we're going to specifically talk about the best small business credit cards. But then in the second part of this video, I want to distill down the last 15 years of experience that I have within digital marketing, just to give you some basic insights and tips on things that I see small businesses skip over all the time on their digital presence. Things that will not take you very long, but that can have a big impact on your business. Because I can pretty much guarantee you that a good portion of your customers are using Google pretty much every day. So then in the third part of this video, what I want to do is talk about some tax tips that you might want to consider. And if you're not set up as an S Corp today and you are a profitable business, just something I want to make you aware of. I've actually worked at a business that made this mistake and paid way too much in taxes. So these are all things that I have learned from years of experience, and I want to share all this with you in one video. So starting off with small business credit cards, the way that I look at this is that it's kind of like somebody asking you, like, what's the best dinner entree? Well, a lot of that's going to depend on various factors. How hungry are you? Do you have allergies? What are you in the mood for? Do you prefer Italian over seafood? I don't know. There's so many things to consider, and that'd be a really weird question to answer for somebody else. So when it comes to small business credit cards, it's not quite that complicated, but there are a few factors that might be unique to you and what you're looking for. I think one of the best analogies that I can come up with is you can kind of think about it in terms of, like, let's say you had to take a flight to somewhere that you've never been before. Most people would not start to hop on Southwest.com, Delta.com, USAirways.com, JetBlue. You're not just going to go into these individual sites. Typically what you'll do is you'll go to a data aggregator where they have all this information compiled, and then they give you the best possible flights and the best possible prices for you. You've heard of these, maybe you've used kayak.com, hotels, Expedia, I don't know, there's a bunch of them. Even Google search engine now actually has a data aggregating service that shows you some of the best flights if I wanted to randomly go to Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is aggregating data. So for you, what I would recommend is checking out some of these data aggregation sites. So one of the services that I have partnered with is called cardratings.com. You've probably heard of them, but what I like about them is they do a great job of filtering down questions to show you what cards you're available for. They're a data aggregator of credit cards, and then they can put everything in one place depending on what your needs are. So in this particular case, if you say, I have good credit, and if you're not sure, you can click I don't know, they'll give you more details. But then there is an option for small business. So now all you're looking at are small business credit cards that are going to pop up on the next screen, and you can decide what is a good fit for your needs. So one of the first tips that I would give, though, if you're looking at these different credit card offers here, and you can kind of go down the list here and look at them, is think about where you're at with your business. If you're just getting started and you're just trying to turn a profit, you might want to go with no annual fee credit cards, because typically the ones that do charge an annual fee, like this one does $295, they're going to have more lucrative rewards. But if you're really not that cash positive yet, then what you want to focus on is the cards that have no annual fees. Another thing to consider too is the APR here, right? This is going to be a variable rate, and that's going to depend on your credit history and things that are specific to your file. But one of the things that I've realized from talking with people is a lot of people don't actually understand how much interest they will accrue based on these APR rates. They think if I owe $1,000 and I'm at 15%, then I'm going to owe $150 at the end of the month. That is not the way that it technically works. So what I'll do at the end of this video is I will link to a video that's informative on specifically how interest works with credit cards, because that's worth watching. And then working towards the purchase intro, what that is a lot of times these credit cards will have like 0% on purchases up front, and then maybe it's 12, 15, 18 months is when your APR, your interest rates will start to kick in. So it'll give you that information here. Some of them are a little bit different. Some have none because it's just, right out the gates, you will have that interest rate. And again, this depends on your situation. If you think you're going to have to buy a decent amount of inventory up front, but you're confident you'll be able to pay it back, but you need that kind of 12 months to get rolling, one of these cards with 0% in the first 12-month period might be very advantageous to you. And as you can see here, it is giving you no credit needed, good, excellent on these cards. What I have found is it's a little bit harder to get a small business credit card if you have fair or possibly even bad credit. They're typically looking for good or excellent credit because this is a little bit more of a risk for the lender that is giving you the credit card. So these are all things that you can take a look at. The highlighted offers. One thing I will mention too is like if you see stuff like 130,000 Hilton Honors bonus points with Hilton Honors American Express, you want to make sure you go into that actual program and see what a bonus point is worth, because all things are not created equal here. In one instance, 100 bonus points might be worth $1, and then on another service, 100 bonus points might be worth 50 cents. So it's always a good idea to kind of dig into the credit card that starts to kind of, appeal to you. In this particular case, they do a nice job of giving you kind of a preferred featured card. So really, there's not a whole lot to it. I would suggest using a service like this. I do have a link in the description below, which is an affiliate link. Doesn't cost you anything extra. I can make a commission if you do sign up through my link. But what I'm going to try to do is give you enough valuable advice in the rest of this video that you're like, heck yeah, I'm going to use that guy's link. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was marketing your business online. And this is one that is kind of a pet peeve of mine because there's so many businesses that I have talked to that do not take these simple steps. I'll give it as free advice and they're like, oh, I should do that. And I'll see them 6 months later. Did you do this? And they're like, no, I haven't, but I'll do that. It's on my list. So earlier today, I was searching something, I believe it was a term kind of close to this because I wanted to delay my dentist appointment that's scheduled next week, push it out maybe 6 months. No need to go to a dentist right now. So even if your business is, regional or national, there are still people most likely within a 60, 90 mile radius of where you are that can do business with you. So this is worth watching. So you may be already familiar with some of this, but we're going to go into more detail as I get going. Of course, you have your ads at the top. And then what you have is this map listing. And what this is called here is the snack pack, right? These are the top listings from Google Maps that are included here. And then here what you have is your traditional websites that are ranking here. So taking a quick look at this again, basically, your ads here, the moment you stop giving Google money, you no longer show up there. So that can get pretty expensive. This area right here, there's an acronym called NAP, N-A-P, that's going to be really important for how you show up in this area and how you can get more clicks and traffic to your business. And then this one for your traditional websites, it's really a complicated math problem. It's almost like this is like, college calculus, and then this is like middle school math, right? If you want to show up in here, this is middle school math, this is calculus. You have to do a lot of things right on your website unless you're in a completely uncompetitive industry, which God bless you if you are, that's awesome. So what I want to focus on is the snack pack here and how you show up here. So there's an acronym called NAP that I mentioned, and it's really important. What that stands for is name, address, and phone. And what you want is your name, address, and phone to be consistent across the web. So what you do is you go to google.com/business, and then you can claim your business so that you can have control over your Google My Business listing. So Google is always trying to serve the best result to the person searching. So when I search dentist near me, they kind of know like where I am, and they think, okay, he probably wants to see dentist right here, but what makes it so that some dentists show up and other ones don't? Well, it's ones that have citations across the web. And what I mean by that is you have your Google My Business listing, but then you also have a Yelp listing, you have a Foursquare listing, you have a Yodlee listing, you have Monta.com listing, Twitter, there's so many different services. There's hundreds of them across the web where you can put your business information into them. And what they're looking for is to see if the NAP is consistent. Is the name, address, and phone consistent across all of those citations? So a lot of businesses that I have talked to or people that own businesses, they're like, oh, I know it's important, and they never get around to taking the time to do it. Go to google.com/business. Make sure you own your actual Google business listing. Sometimes you got to verify it by a phone call if you've already done that. But then after you've optimized your listing, making sure you have a description, services offered, all of that stuff, what you're going to want to do is go to a site, and I am not affiliated with these guys at all. I've just used them several times, and I think they do a really great job. It's called brightlocal.com. And what you can do is you can get a free trial for 14 days. That's all you'll need. And you can do what's called a local citations citation builder. So what this service does is they will actually manually build your citations across the web for as little as $2 per site. And what it'll cost you with this particular site is maybe a couple $100. They will build all your citations out across the web and make sure the NAP is consistent across all of those. So then let's say somebody local is searching for what it is that you sell. Google's going to take a look at all those Google My Business listings, and yours is going to have citations all over the web with the same name, address, and phone. And it's going to say to Google, you know what? This is a pretty good match, I think, for what this person is looking for, because they're more of an authority on the web. So real easy service to get started with. You can get started now. Like it says, $2 per site. And you're looking at about a couple $100 investment, and it might take 2, 3, 4, 5 months after that, because Google does not work immediately. But then the nice thing about that is that once you start showing in here above the fold, which interestingly enough, that above the fold is actually a newspaper reference. That's where that comes from, because there's a fold in the newspaper. But when you're above this fold here, your opportunity to get more clicks and sales to your business is going to go up dramatically if you can show up here when people are searching for what it is that you sell. And that is my one insight on digital marketing that I feel like is so overlooked, and that's why it's an opportunity. And I can see right here, these 3 dentists, they have not even optimized their listing, because I don't even see a website option for them. They've never claimed their listing. They haven't done any of that. It's funny because my dentist should be in this list because it's close to me, very close to me, and it's not, because they're probably just not doing these things. If one of them were to do that, they could pop right up to the top, get some good reviews, and it's going to help you quite a bit to get more business. So the last thing I'll say as far as marketing your business online, if you have questions, feel free to ask below. I will do my best to get back to you on those. If I don't know the answer, I'll say I don't know, but I do have a lot of experience on how to show up online, whether it be through a website, your Google business listing, or in this particular case, you're watching me because you found me on YouTube. So the third thing that I want to talk about in this video is tax strategy for your business. So I will tell you, I am not a CPA accountant, but I have watched firsthand a business owner who I worked for get bad business advice from their CPA, from their actual CPA, and it costs them tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. So if you can avoid that, that'd be a pretty great thing. So what I want to look at right here is something called Inkfile.com. Now you might already be set up as a DBA, an LLC, an S Corp, maybe any one of those things. If you're not currently set up with an LLC, it's highly advised. This service can do that for you. I do have an affiliate link in the description below, but that's not what this is about. What I wanted to talk about was the difference between an LLC and an S Corp. In that particular case, an LLC is really only existing, if that's what you have, to separate your personal and your business from one another, so that if you get sued, they can't come and take your personal home, but they can take some of your assets of your business. That's what an LLC does. But if you want to get into tax savings, that's where you can start looking at what's called an S Corp. So this is something that I have set up for myself, an S Corp, for my business, based on the advice from an attorney and a CPA. So if you go down this, what I'm going to do is try to explain this the best I can on how you can save on taxes with an S Corp. So hypothetically, let's say you think you're going to net $59,000 of income in your business. That's net, right? That's important. So what you can do with an S Corp is you can actually put yourself on the salary. You're a paid employee of the business. It's not like you're the owner, you're a shareholder, and you might be the solo shareholder of the business. That's what I am in my particular case, but you're actually on salary. So let's say in this particular case, you're paying yourself a reasonable salary of, we'll call it $30,000. And when I say reasonable, that's because you do have to pay yourself a reasonable salary. You can't make $1 million and pay yourself $30,000. That looks weird to the IRS. You're going to get audited. But in this particular case, as a sole proprietor, you would pay $9,027 in taxes. But as an S corporation, you would pay $4,590, and you would save $4,437 a year in taxes, roughly. Now, the reason for that, let's say that you are a W-2 employee. You have to pay into those, payroll taxes, which is like your FICA, Medicare, and Social Security, and you have to pay a percentage of that, but the employer is paying the other half of it. So if you're a W-2, you're paying half, and the employer is paying the other half. If you're a DBA, now this is important, if you're like a sole proprietor under a DBA or just a basic LLC, you're paying all of that. As you can see on the screen, they're saying as of 2016, 15.3%. You're paying every bit of that in tax. So this screenshot here actually does a great job of explaining how you save on taxes by being set up as an S Corp. So number one that I'm highlighting on the screen, it says as a salary, you will pay employment tax on this as normal. So over here, this $30,000, normal employment tax, 15.3%. But as a distribution, you will only need to pay federal income tax on this. So the remaining $29,000 that you'd have left over, this is what you're going to pay yourself in a distribution or a draw. You will only pay federal income tax on. You do not pay 15.3% tax on that. So this is really powerful. This is something worth looking at if you have a profitable business right now. And even if you're just getting started, you can get set up as an LLC, and then you can give yourself that limited liability protection. But then what you can do is you can add a designation as an S Corp later on, and that's something that you can take on down the road. So I just wanted to make you aware of this service and specifically the difference between an LLC and an S Corp. And if you go to Learning Center, you can go to an S Corp tax calculator. You can read this entire page. And like I said, I do have an affiliate link for this service in the description below, and it's actually $0 to get started if you're just trying to set up an LLC today. And then later on, if you want to upgrade to an S Corp, that is something you can do in the future if it makes sense for your situation. So earlier in the video, I did mention that I would have a quick video on how credit card interest works. So you can find that on the screen and click that right now. Now, if you are also interested, I have a video on QuickBooks versus FreshBooks, and that video is available on the screen as well. I know it's not the most exciting stuff talking about, legal taxes and all that, but if you take care of it now, you'll be thankful later. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next video.